9 games post-trade deadline now. Brock Nelson, 7 points in those 9 games, has broken out as of late, but also doing a lot of the details right for the Colorado Avalanche. Small sample size and way too early, but we have to ask. Best deal of deadline day? I guess technically it was midnight, right? It counts. Yeah. It's deadline day.
Yeah.
Is Brock Nelson the best move at the trade deadline?
Well, sure. Looks like it. I mean, sure. I didn't get it. I got to be honest. I can't lie to you or to anybody else. Like looking at those trade boards, he was one, a lot of places. And I was like, whatever. Again, guilty. Not really watching him, in the East, and knew who Brock Nelson was, knew what his game's all about, but never really sat down and said, okay, I'm really going to watch him for 3-4 games in a row here. And I'm like, when it happened, you're like, okay, Senator, I get it. Now you're watching it. Bednar talked about it, I believe, yesterday. He's like, he just does everything right. So now you're throwing at the other team, the opposition, the best forward in the National Hockey League, right? So they're backing off and they're like, oh my God, we didn't give up a goal here. So you breathe, nicely. And then you send out a guy that's got size, and that's with not with Natushkin now, but he's with Lehkonen and whoever has been put with him, and he does everything right. You know what I mean? So the 200-foot game is superb. So now that's what's coming after you. And then you got Charlie Coyle. So, you know what I mean? And then you got that fourth line buzzing with Drury. So somewhere, somehow, they are elite in the middle, and he is the reason why, because now Charlie Coyle is slotted right. He comes in, he's made an immediate impact, and I didn't agree with him being on top of the trade board. I do agree with it now. Now, that's a small sample size. We'll see what happens in the playoffs, but this is a guy that's played big playoff games over the last few years, right? The Islanders have reached the semifinals a few times, and so he's playing in big games. Guy with size, guy with tentacles, right? You know what I mean? And he touches and he impacts so many parts of the game that he has to be the acquisition of the trade deadline in my book so far.
If he's got tentacles, are we calling him the Broctopus?
Yeah, Broctopus from Minnesota.
I think what's been most impressive to me about it is the way he's built his game in Colorado. Yep. When he first got here, first handful of games, didn't really pick up too many points. He was close, hit some posts and things, but he was doing all of the other things right. Surprisingly winning a bunch of faceoffs, which is not why the Avs went out and got him, but he was doing that, contributing, helped get one of his first points, won a game in overtime by winning a faceoff, and Cale Makar goes and finishes it for him. And then he steps up from there. He starts doing more good things, starts screening goalies, playing physical, adding a little bit of an emotional edge to that Avs middle six, and then the points start coming. He starts putting goals in the back of the net. He starts playing with those assists, and now we're even seeing him help reshape the Avs power play in some ways. Not the first unit. First unit's ridiculously good. It's great. He goes out with them sometimes. But the second unit is, 1, starting to get used by Colorado because of him, and 2, producing because of him.
And then you can use them, again, impact special teams.
Yep.
And you can use them on the PK as well. Now the Avs have a lot of options. And it makes it nice. Depth is what McFarland talked about when they acquired Jack Drury. Now you acquired your fourth line center. Then you went and got your third line center, obviously, and then Brock, your second line center. So you add that to McKinnon. Wow, what an addition he's been. And I think he's happy to be here. People keep asking about a contract. I don't think he's worried about a contract. I don't think the Avalanche are worried about a contract. Sure, go win. We'll figure it out. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But certainly going to be a guy that, now, if you look at the Avalanche and you're getting ready to play them in the playoffs, you're not going to look at games from, October, November. Totally different lineup. He totally changes the dynamics of the Avs lineup. He really does. So very fun to watch. Very great acquisition. And again, I was the one that was a little bit surprised because he wasn't my number one trade board guy.
Same.
You know what I mean?
He was not my top center.
But I think it's pretty good.
Hard to argue with the results right now, man. Hard to argue with what he's done. I do have to ask really quickly. You have to pick one.
Yep.
Brock Nelson or Martin Erat?
No comment. My Lord.
Had to throw it out there. I'd pick Brock Nelson. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, any day of the week.
Would not be a close conversation.
Any day of the week ending in Y.
With the Nelson acquisition, I do think it's interesting, E. Where do you think the Avs wingers shake out next to Nelson? Who do you think is the best line combination for that Avs second line, as we've seen them experiment with Nelson a little bit so far?
I have to admit, I did like seeing Big Val with him.
Yeah.
Because that is a lot of meat, a lot
the big
of
boy line
meat
for sure. Yeah.
to defend. Not that they're very aggressive, but they are tenacious. They are lengthy. They are smart, and they are hard workers. So very good combo together. But lately we've seen him with Natchez on the right side and Lecky, the fixer on the left side. I don't mind that either. I think that they played really well at 5-on-5. I think they've made some good connections on the ice. They've produced. But if you have to switch it because of a different lineup that the opposition's thrown at you, and then you want to use them with Natushkin and was it Joe Druin? I got no problem. I mean, honestly, you can mix and match and build it the way kind of a Lego, right? Puzzle, and you want to build
flexibility for sure.
Because you're playing Team X, then you want it this way, and you're playing Team Y, you want it this way. If everyone's healthy, he certainly brings you that capabilities of being able to mix and match different things and throw different things at the opposition.
The final piece of this puzzle. Nelson, look, the Avs are playing for the playoffs, right? That's when the production matters. Nelson has a good amount of experience there. He's been on some deep runs with the Islanders, been on some short runs with the Islanders, and maybe most importantly, goal scoring ability added to the Avs' depth that has started to shine through quite a bit for him. Also, I mean, I don't. Can you call him a clutch player? He won a shootout game for him. That got to count for something.
Didn't look very nervous, right? Didn't look very nervous. Went down, did his move, and again, Druin's the one that
said put him in. Yeah,
Bednar to throw him in. This is a guy. Again, we make fun of that Four Nations picture, because he looked like he was 100 years old. But this is a guy that's got experience without being sarcastic. You know what I mean? He's got a lot of experience. He's been in the trenches. Was a leader all those years in on the island. He comes from a Lou type environment, so very easy to see why he fits in well here with the Avalanche. And I think if you're Bednar, you look down, you see big number 11 there. You're like, all right, I like this. I like this a lot.
Maybe quietly also helping balance the time on ice for this last stretch of the season, get the Avs that little bit more rested for the playoffs. Yep. Nelson certainly going to be a key conversation for the Avs going forward for the rest of this season and postseason. Yep. They do have to play the games though, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Keep up with us here at DNVR Sports on YouTube. Like and subscribe. That helps us out a lot.